Hello, welcome to episode 2.
There's our blanket, excellent.
An asymmetrical twin. Dropping and sinking up.
Notice how so just notice.
Joining us for the second episode of next week. Namaste. Hello and welcome to episode 27 of Namaste Yoga. I'm flying solo today, kind of. We're continuing our series of classes on the Hindu deities, and we're working with the Hindu deity Lakshmi today, so I feel very blessed to be in her company. And so what I wanted to do today is start with the story of Lakshmi. I just wanted to point out that because I'm solo today, I was able to wear one of my other t-shirts, the really pretty lavender one from Prima Clothing, and my friend Mai makes these bracelets. And so Lakshmi is a goddess of beauty. So I was thinking about being in beautiful colors and wearing my beautiful jewelry. So why don't you go ahead, actually before you go ahead and rest back, I want you to, we're going to have two props today. One is the strap and the other is a block. So if you have a strap, great. If not, use the tie from your bathrobe. If you have a block, great. If not, you can use, a chair or a stool or something like that. Okay, and I want to say that I'm going to be starting today's class with a story. And I want to give credit because the story comes from a really fabulous book that I'm reading right now called Shakti Mantras, Tapping into the Great Goddess Energy Within. And it's by Thomas Ashley Farrand. So if we can get a close-up on his book here, that would be great. Just a great book. And I'm trying to get him on my radio show right now too, but he travels like pretty much every week of the year, so he's pretty difficult to get a hold of, but hopefully we'll get him on and have him on Returning to the Body Mind as well. So go ahead and rest back. We're going to start with a story, so settle in, allow yourself to get comfortable. If you're cool, put a blanket over top of you, maybe a couple of pillows behind your knees, maybe one behind your head. Just let yourself get really comfortable and settle in for story time to start today. So we're going to start with the myth of Lakshmi, of how Lakshmi came to existence. And at this point, the universe, the material universe hadn't come into being. So this is a bit of a creation story. At this point, the duality of the universe had already manifested through the Supreme God. The etheric universe came into existence and the drama began. And the drama at this point was all good and bad, positive and negative, masculine and feminine, yin and yang, centrifugal and centripetal. All the dualistic forces existed in an etheric, non-physical state where they played out for a long time. In this etheric realm of duality, the good forces of the celestial beings constantly strove against the bad forces of the demons for overall supremacy. First, one group would gain advantage, and then the other side would prevail for a time. Both groups knew that eventually there would come a state of stasis or rest, where the existence of the universe would effectively end, much like a wind-up clock that runs down and finally stops altogether. The universe, with them included as part of it, would cease to exist. Naturally, ceasing to exist was not an eventuality that either the demons or the celestials looked forward to with any pleasure. The only thing that could protect them from death at the end of the universe was a precious substance known as the Nectar of Immortality. And whoever drank this nectar would never perish. Unfortunately, in the persistent battling, the nectar had been lost. The only way to retrieve the nectar of immortality was to churn the ocean of consciousness. This was a big job, too big for either the forces of good or evil to accomplish on their own. Successful churning would require unprecedented cooperation. So what ends up happening is that Shiva offers Mount Mandara as a churning stick. And then he asks his friend Vishnu to invest a portion of himself, and he incarnates as a tortoise. And it's on his back that the churning rests without tearing apart the fabric of the universe. So near the peak of the churning, a compact and dazzling multicolored gem appeared, of such brilliance that it caused gasps of appreciation from the whirling assembly of celestials and demons. Even though both camps desperately wanted this bright, pulsing gem, neither had any understanding of its uses or powers. By its own radiant energy, it floated over the ever-compassionate Vishnu and melted into his chest, one hand width below the notch at his throat. Automatically, Vishnu began to speak. This jewel has chosen me as its abode. Through its power, I can make a thing happen by speaking out loud or by speaking silently. Whatsoever I utter with dedicated purpose will become so. This is the great wish-fulfilling gem that I will now use for protection of the pious and to safeguard the development of saintly souls. I shall allow a portion of it to reside in those who are dear to me, who aid me in my divine tasks. Finished with his explanation, Vishnu turned back to the task of churning the ocean and exerted himself mightily. Suddenly, a shining woman of extraordinary beauty arose from the surging, swirling mists. Clad in a deep pink sari and bedecked with gold and precious stones, she floated to the side of the celestials and alighted softly. Even though her dress and ornaments would have commanded many fortunes of extravagant kings and queens, it was not that which drew rapt attention. So strikingly radiant with both beauty and compassion was her face that all were reduced to gaping. None of them have ever seen anything like her before. She was Lakshmi. For a long time, not a word was said as they all rested their troubles and cares in the soothing balm of her glance. Gone were the cares of conflicts, forgotten was any worry of the universe ceasing to be. Completely absent was any thought of the nectar of immortality, or the churning of the ocean of consciousness, or any other matter that had seemed all important just moments ago. Only the peace-giving serenity of her glance mattered. Resting in her gaze, all were completely satisfied in every way. Finally, she cast her eyes upward and spoke only one word. Narayana, and then lowered her eyes. The magic moment was over, and the needs and cares of the moment returned in a rush. Shiva stepped forward and, heaving out his chest, spoke loudly to celestials and demons. I claim this woman as my own. As chief of the celestials, I demand this right. If any among them would oppose me, take up your weapon and stance. I am ready. No one moved. Good, said Shiva. Now come and stand beside me, O dazzling one. Lakshmi stepped forward and spoke. Her voice was like the most pleasing music. Narayana has sent me here to show you the nectar of immortality you all seek. As his vessel of abundance, I shall provide you with that nectar and many other things as well. Know that wherever there is wealth, good friends, plentiful crops, and food, healthy children, and any other abundant circumstance, my blessing has made it so. Ever merciful, I hear the supplications of the worthy ones and respond with the swiftness of grace that every mother bestows on her beloved children. Yet do not mistake my gentle nature for weakness. I have other manifestations that would make you tremble if you but knew of them. However, in this form as Lakshmi, my nature is to give to you abundantly. Yes, Shiva rushed in to interject his own authority in the midst of her words. Whosoever pleases me, I will command her to give to that person in a most lavish way. I am, of course, quite generous by nature. With the barest sparkle of amusement, the glowing figure of Lakshmi turned to him and spoke. O most generous one, you are now going to demonstrate just how deep that vein of giving is rooted, for I am not to be your wife or your possession. You, who are primarily concerned with your status and position, must dedicate all your talent and energy to maintaining that place. I am meant for another, whose sole concern is for the welfare of the righteous ones. I speak naturally of the noble Vishnu. So saying, she glided over to Vishnu and placed her arm about his neck in an affectionate manner. Without hesitation, his arm slipped around her waist, and they unabashedly looked into each other's eyes with deep love and affection. The crowd gasped in mixed delight and envy as the two exchanged delicate and sweet words with each other that only they could hear. Then Lakshmi turned back to the crowd and spoke again, instructing them all. My form is composed of vibration, as is every other form on the cosmos. Because my form is the nature of abundance, whosoever shall call my name through various mystic methods shall be rewarded. Those who want wealth will inevitably obtain it through speaking my mystic name with sincerity and devotion. Those who desire regal children of beauty and charm shall have them through the grace of the mantra powers derived from me. Still others who want love and liberation shall have it by the grace contained in the mystic spiritual formulas composing vibrations of my form. All manner of divine abilities may be obtained, but know that all of this is possible by the grace of the being whose dreamlike thoughts have made this universe possible. Lakshmi paused briefly to let her last remarks sink in, then continued, I now charge compassionate Vishnu with every power available to complete his appointed divine task from now until the end of time and beyond. With that, she rapidly grew smaller until she was no bigger than one's closed hand. She melted into the chest of Vishnu, throbbing as part of his own celestial heart, from which a blazing strand of light then slipped down his spine to its very base, paused briefly, and moved up again to his head, filling it with spidery tendrils of golden energy. Vishnu stood wrapped in bliss, shedding tears of joy, and spoke without even hearing his own voice. God's love, through whatever door it comes, is the end of all desire and yearning. And with that, he walked away, steeped in the growing knowledge of his role and power in the new material universe that was quickly emerging from the great churning that had come to an end. He had everything he needed to serve sentient beings for the next thousand millennia by the power of the great feminine. Lakshmi, residing in his heart, had linked to the great Shakti lying in the serene repose at the base of the spine. By so joining, she had supercharged Vishnu in every way. A tiny filament of light-born Shakti entered the gem just below Vishnu's throat, and it glowed magnificently. So that's the story of how Lakshmi came into existence. And as you rest back here and reflect on that, I want you to notice what part of the story resonates for you the most and what stands out for you. Is it connecting to this idea of beauty in the world, your own inner beauty? It's probably one of the most romantic love stories I've ever heard. And for me, it allows me to connect to my heart and love and romantic love. Also, she is a goddess of abundance, and she brings abundance in many forms. But notice that she doesn't have very much tolerance for people who just want her for her wealth. So she turned Shiva right away. She was much more interested in Vishnu, the god of maintenance, the very compassionate god who keeps things in order. So just notice what stands out for you, what speaks to you most in your life right now, and take a moment to set an intention of how this yoga practice could best serve that for you and in your life right now. And then when you're ready, you can start to gently stretch out. And we're going to start lying on our sides today. So I'm going to start lying on my left side with my right hand stacked on top of my left hand. And it might be useful to have a pillow or a blanket here just to lift your head. The head can get, you can see the neck can be kind of out of line here. And if that happens, then, you know, prop it up, because it's best to have the spine in neutral alignment at all times. So we're going to keep the right hand on top of the left hand. And we're going to breathe in here, breathe out. You're going to glide the right shoulder blade away from the spine. And then you're going to inhale and glide back. So exhale, glide the right shoulder blade away from the spine. And inhale, glide back. Knees are bent up at a 90-degree angle. And then keep looking at the left hand on the ground. Keep the spine and the head and the back in line without moving it. You're going to inhale, open the right arm, kind of like you're opening the book. The spine of the book stays where it is. And then you're going to exhale and bring that back closed. That's great. So inhaling, opening, arms sinking and dropping into the shoulder. So because the story of Lakshmi is such a heart-centered story, we're going to do a lot of heart openers today. Lakshmi literally ends up residing in Vishnu's heart. And then in the next one, we're going to roll. So you're going to roll on the back of your head, roll onto the back of your back, roll all the way open, and then we'll exhale and roll back closed. So what I want you to bring your awareness to as well is in these stories, the joining of the divine feminine and the masculine. And when we practice yoga, we often work right and left side, and then we bring this integration together at the spine. And so notice here how we're working the right side of the body. After we'll work the left side, the spine is in the center. And in these stories, notice how it's the spine is a place for that divine union between the masculine and the feminine. In this story, Lakshmi went down a spine and circled back up. Let's do one more like that. And then we're going to roll over. Actually, I want you to just lie on your back. And when you lie on your back, just feel the difference between the right and the left shoulder. And then we'll go over to the other side. And we'll lie on the left side now. The right side with the left hand stacking on top of the right hand. And we're going to breathe in here, breathe out, glide the left shoulder blade away from the spine. And then inhale and glide it back. Okay, and then hands are stacked. And we're going to inhale, open the left arm. And exhale and close. Okay, and then rolling onto your back. And exhaling and rolling close. Okay, and then coming back center, and we'll just lie on your back again. Get you lie on your back again, and feel that evenness across both shoulders. Oh, that feels so good. So what I want you to pay attention to today, I'm going to work a lot with working the right side, which is said to be the masculine side of the body, the left side, which is said to be the feminine side of the body, one side, the other, and then integrate the two. So our next piece, we're going to work with Sphinx Pose. So you just need to roll over onto your stomach. So coming onto the stomach, and I was playing around with this way of coming into the pose this week, and I ended up really liking it. Sphinx is a backbend, and backbends require strength in the back and a softness in the opening. The back body is said to be the masculine side of the body. The front body is said to be the feminine. So we need that strength in the back. We need the strength for the softness and the openness of the feminine. And you see it in the story even when Vishnu offers the back, the strong back of the turtle for the churning of the ocean of consciousness. So let's take the hands underneath the shoulders. This is how I've been doing it, and actually keeping the elbows up and in with the shoulders rolling back and up in line with the back. We'll do everything that we usually do, which is dropping the pubic bone into the ground, drawing up through the pelvic floor, hollowing out the belly, and we'll inhale here, exhale, and then inhale, relying on the strength of the back. Use the strength of the back to lift the body. And then we'll bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. So it's kind of working backwards. We don't bring the elbows back, we bring the elbows forward. And I've been really liking this way of coming into the pose. Because I can really feel the strength of the back and the softness of the front body opening. This is a great counter pose for life. So let's lower that down. We'll just do it one more time. So hands come underneath the shoulders. Shoulders roll back and up. Elbows are in line with the body. You're going to breathe in, breathe out. You're going to hover the head off the ground, draw on the strength of the back body. Use the back extensor muscles to come up. And then bring the elbows in underneath the shoulders. Keep the back of the neck long and the chin tucked here. Okay, and then we'll lower down from here, and you can push yourself up and back into child's pose. And we're going to come back to lying on our backs for another little vinyasa. So just lying on your backs, you're going to start with your knees into your chest. And the way it's going to work is you want to make sure you have enough space behind you that you can take your arms all the way overhead. But you're going to inhale, take the arms overhead and the legs straight up. We're going to exhale, bring the arms up. Inhale, take the arms and legs in a V shape. Exhale, you're going to come back to the U. And then inhale overhead for the L. And we'll finish with knees to chest. So that's called the Love Vinyasa, L-U-V. Makes the shape of an L and a U and a V. So inhale, arms come overhead, legs come straight up. Exhale, arms float up. Inhale, arms and legs go wide. Exhale, back to the U. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, knees to chest. Inhale, legs straight up, arms overhead. Exhale, arms up. Inhale, arms and legs wide. Exhaling in. Inhale the arms overhead. And exhale, knees to chest. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, arms overhead, legs straight up. Exhale, arms up. Inhale, arms and legs wide. Exhale, back. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale with knees to chest. Great. And then we're going to rock ourselves up. And if you have socks on now would be a good time to take those off, probably. And we're going to just work with cat pose and thread the needle. So hands are going to come underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You're going to exhale, round up through the back, and inhale and extend. And exhaling, rounding up through the back, and inhaling, extending. So here we are integrating along the spine. Exhaling and rounding. Inhaling, extending. Okay, and then we're going to do thread the needle. So with thread the needle, you're going to take your left arm out to the side and you're going to bring it underneath your right arm and rest the left shoulder, left side of the head heavy on the ground. So here we're breaking off to work the left and the right sides again. We did two poses that were very symmetrical that worked along the spine. Now we're working with asymmetrical poses again. And then we'll inhale and come on out. And we'll do that on the other side. So the right arm's going to come through and rest the right shoulder, right side of the head, shins and top of the feet on the ground. And then we'll come out nice and slowly. And we'll integrate along the spine with a cat pose. Okay, and then we're going to work with an even bigger version of thread the needle. You want to be really cautious and careful with your neck here. And just move slowly and carefully. The neck is involved, so you want to just be careful and honor your own body and listen to its own cues. So the way this one works is you take the left arm underneath the right arm. Rest the left side of the head and the left shoulder heavy on the ground. And then you take your right leg out to the side. Now just take a look at this here because this is really important. If you can get a close-up on the feet, the toes are tucked under here. Okay? And what I see a lot of in class is toes like this. But look at this. There's no stability in that whatsoever. So then you have to hold yourself up through the joints, which is not good. So stabilize yourself from your feet. And then what you're going to do is tuck your chin into your chest, and you're going to open the right shoulder towards the ground at the back. And maybe the upper back will come onto the ground here. And then to come out, you're just going to bring the arm back around and roll out carefully. Okay, so let's try that on the other side as well. So this time the right arm is going to come underneath the left arm. Right shoulder is going to be heavy on the ground. You're going to take your left leg out to the side with the toes curled under, heels reaching back, chin is into the chest, and you drop the back towards the ground. Okay, and then we'll slowly gather that up. Okay, so we work the left and the right side of the spine. My mic is not loving this practice today. Okay, left and right side of the spine. Now we're going to come back to the center, and we're going to do down dog to up dog. And the way I feel I experience this pose is like it's just a bigger version of cat. So let's come into down dog, lots of space between the hands and the feet. And you're going to tuck the tail under, draw on that strength of the back again to allow the front to be soft and open. And then we'll come back. Exhaling, moving forward. Pause here, inhale. And exhaling back again. And then this time we'll lower the knees and sit back on the heels, stretch out the low back. And then we'll roll up to seated, and we're going to come to a seated position. We're actually going to do some breath practice right now. So to go back to that integrating the masculine and the feminine, the left and the right side of the body, we're going to work with alternate nostril breathing. So find a comfortable seated position. You might want to prop yourself on a meditation cushion or a blanket. And we'll bring the thumb and index finger together in the left hand. And for the right hand, we're going to extend through the first two fingers and rest that above the nose on the forehead. Okay? We're going to close the right nostril. We'll breathe in through the left nostril. Close the left nostril with the ring finger. Breathe out through the right nostril. Breathe in through the right nostril. Close right, breathe out left. Breathe in left. Close left, breathe out right. Breathe in right. Close right, breathe out left. Breathe in left. Close left, breathe out right. Breathe in right. Close right, breathe out left. Talk you through it one more time. Breathe in left. Close left, breathe out right. Close right, breathe out left. Breathe in left. Close left, breathe out right. Breathe in right. Close right, breathe out left. Talk you through it one more time. Breathe in left. Close left, breathe out right. Breathe in right. Close right, breathe out left. And then continue on your own for a few breath cycles. Next time you breathe out through the left nostril, bring the right hand down. And just breathing in through both nostrils, just noticing what that experience was like for you. And then when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Okay, so that breath is known as the breath for insomnia. It's a great one to practice before you go to bed. Just want you to reflect for a moment what that breath gave to you. And I'm just looking around here right now, and my vision feels really clear and crisp right now. So that was what really came out of it for me, which is really interesting. Okay, so let's come up to standing now, please. And you're going to need your straps. So we're going to start, we're going to work with cow's face arms just a little bit here, standing. I stood up too fast. I'm a little lightheaded. We're going to take the right arm. You're going to internally rotate the right arm and bring the right arm up the back. And then we're going to bring the left arm up and over. And you're going to maybe hold on to the fingers at the back, or if they don't touch like mine, then you're going to use the strap here. And then we'll release that. And just feel the difference between the two shoulders. And then we'll internally rotate the left arm, bringing the left arm up the back. And we'll bring the right arm up and over. And you'll probably notice a big difference between the two sides. Okay. And just watch the tendency, especially for women, is to do a little shortening in the low back here. So you want to really just keep rooting down through that tailbone. If you want to lift and open anywhere, you can lift and open from the heart center. Lakshmi, yeah. Okay, so release and just feel those shoulders. Okay, so we're going to do triangle pose today, and the way I wanted to work with triangle pose is I like to come at it from below rather than above. It just takes out any kind of issue around the SI joint. And also, I want us to focus on opening. And when my students do this, it's often like this real cranking of the top arm. And I want you to see if we can move from the core, the center, the spine, and focus on it being an opening of the heart, and then the arm just extends, okay? So stand towards the top of the mat. We're going to inhale and take a deep breath up. We'll exhale and hip hinge forward into a standing forward fold. And have your blocks close by. You're going to take a nice, really big step back, almost taking up your whole mat. Step back with the right foot, and just allow that left heel to line up with the arch of the back right foot. Back right foot is on a 45-degree angle. Both legs are straight here. You're going to drop the left hip sit bone and open the right hip bone as much as you can. Bring the block to underneath your shoulder. That might be up here for you, but it might be further back like it is for me. And then what I want you to do is open up that heart center, and then the arm simply extends. And then come back center. You're going to bring your toes so they face front. We'll do a wide-legged standing forward fold in the center before we go to the right side. So now you'll turn your right toes to point to the back of the mat or the other side. Bring your block over to your right side. You're going to drop that right hip bone and open the left. Drop the right sit bone, sorry. Open the left hip bone. Hand comes underneath the shoulder. Open the heart, and then it simply extend the arm up. And just feel the difference. Feel the love between the two sides. And then we'll come back into a wide-legged standing forward fold here. And then we'll make our way up to standing. Okay. What's our time at right now? Okay. All right, so let's do another standing posture. What we're going to do is Halfmoon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. I think this is probably one of the most beautiful poses to me, and that's why I chose it today in honor of Lakshmi, goddess of beauty. I chose poses that are beautiful to me. Triangle pose is a pose that I'm trying to find the beauty in, and that's why I chose that. And I chose to focus on it as a heart opener, so that was my thinking behind that. And then Halfmoon pose, I just think, is probably one of the most beautiful poses in yoga. that I can do. That's the qualifier. All right, so what we're going to do, the way I like to come into it is into a standing forward fold. We'll place the block's great to use here in front of your left foot. We'll take the right leg back and up, dropping the left sit bone, opening the right hip. Keep your eyes on the ground, and you're going to open the heart and bring the right arm up. Good, and breathe. Great. Okay, let's try that on the other side as well. So it's a standing forward fold to begin. Both hands on the ground. The left leg's going to come up, opening that left hip, keeping the eyes on the ground. Yeah, open your heart as much as you can when you're balancing like this. You can look up too, but that gets the inner ear involved and it's even more of a challenge balancing. Okay. Good job. Nothing like doing that on camera for the thousands of people who download Namaste Yoga each week. So I'm with you. I'm feeling you on this one. I know what it's like to practice balancing postures. I'm sure you did very well at home. All right, so from here, we're going to come to a seated position, and we're going to do the cow's face arms in the actual seated pose as well today. So if you want to get your strap and bring your legs out long in front of you. And we'll take the left leg in, crossing the left leg over the right leg. And this might be where you stop. And just notice that it's the outside edge of the foot that's on the ground here. You may also bring the right heel up to the left buttocks. Okay. Sitting down evenly on both sides. And we're going to internally rotate the left arm. Bring the left arm up the back. Root down through the tailbone, lift up through the heart. Then the hands can come up and over and join here. Okay, so slowly releasing that side. Releasing the legs. Give those legs and hips a little wiggle. And we'll do the other side. So the right leg will come in and cross over that left leg, outside of the right foot, lining up with the ground. And this might be where you stop with the legs. Remember, we've done a lot of heart openers today, but not so much with the hips to warm up. So just keep that in mind. Bring the left heel up to the right buttocks. And there you are. in the seated position. And then we're going to internally rotate the right arm and bring that right arm all the way up the back. Bring the left arm up and over. And this side, I definitely need a stretch for. And holding on here. Okay, and then release those arms down. Okay, and then I'm going to have you release the legs and rest back for Shavasana. So rest back and settle in, giving your body a chance to integrate the practice. And reflect back on the practice and notice what stands out for you as most significant. What part of Lakshmi did you relate to the most? The goddess of abundance and beauty and love. The story of the churning of the ocean of consciousness, which can be metaphoric for your own spiritual transformation. Notice what stood out for you as most significant and how it relates to your everyday life. And then set an intention for how you'll carry this awareness with you out into your week this week. In what way will you bring Lakshmi energy into your life? How will you embrace beauty and love and abundance this week? And when you're ready, you can wiggle and stretch out. And bend your knees, roll to your side, make your way up to seated. We'll finish by bringing our hands to our heart center and opening the palms slightly, allowing that intention to drop from your head into your heart. Just the way Lakshmi went into Vishnu's heart. And we'll finish today by greeting each other with Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining us this week on Namaste Yoga. Join us next week. We'll be doing a class on the very compassionate God, Vishnu. And I want to thank, again, our awesome clothing sponsors, Prima Clothing, for these great t-shirts that they've done up for us for Namaste Yoga, and also for Terry here at Perfect Form Training Studio, who so graciously opens up her space to us every Friday to record this podcast. So have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Namaste.